Personal curriculum. To be honest, I was a little bit confused about the term and I didn't know what it was talking about. So of course I heard the term and my ears immediately perked up, because what parent who browses curricula all day isn't going to be like, excuse me, what, and want to hear more about it. So I wanted to think about the concept of the personal curriculum in the context of homeschooling mom. But the more that I watched some videos, I realized that what it boils down to is just sort of the concept of being a lifelong learner. And that's just something I've always kind of naturally done. But I think the thing that makes it more of like the on-trend version of this would be the structured format that people are taking. Like they're scheduling things out, setting deadlines for themselves. I saw some people that were requiring essays. I saw some people that had finals. Yeah, so I don't really go that intense with it. I'm more of just sort of like laid back about it, but I am always learning and I really do enjoy learning. So I wanted to think about the concept of the personal curriculum in the context of homeschooling mom, because that's kind of the role I'm stepping into full-time starting very soon. I'm still very early on in my journey with this, but I would love to share some of the things that I'm studying and some of the goals that I have for myself. I want to instill in my kids the idea of being lifelong learners. I think many people have that goal for their children. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to demonstrate that in your adult life. So I talk to my daughter about the courses I'm doing, about the projects I'm working on, about the things I'm trying to learn that I find interesting. Okay, I'm going to break it down into what I'm learning right now. I'm going to try to keep this a little bit short. I don't want it to take forever, but I have a lot to say because I'm studying a lot of things right now. So first of all, I'm taking a course, The Foundations of Anthroposophy. I am sort of curious about the roots from which Waldorf sprang, and it's going pretty well. I find the subject interesting, a little fluffy, not exactly fully compatible with my personal worldview. And I always enjoy learning about different philosophies, even if I don't fully buy into them. It is interesting to see the applications of this and how it does work its way into Waldorf education. I'm also reading this book on the temperaments. It's also related to Waldorf education. I would say I'm not a full buy-in on the temperaments necessarily, but I do see how they can have applications. And this book specifically talks about how everybody has all of them. Depending on the situation, people move in and out of different temperaments. And also it shows you how, as a teacher, you can embody different temperaments in order to present material to children in a way that will engage them specifically. So I'm also taking this course. It's actually designed as a 2-semester college level program for people who are wanting to teach elementary school. And the program uses the Singapore math textbooks and workbooks as examples, and you see why things are taught the way they are. And that was what I was finding interesting, was I wanted to know with this approach specifically, which Math with Confidence is very Singapore adjacent with the way that they deal with like number sense and breaking down numbers and things like that. So I wanted to see why it was done this way and have like a full sort of grounding of it, because I see a lot of people who went through school like around the time that I did and the way that we learn things, and they're looking at the way that kids are learning math now and they're saying, what's wrong with the way I did it? Why can't we just do it this way because I know how to do it this way? And instead of being that person, I decided to learn why are they doing it this way. So I'm working on that. I also have purchased a lot of books about Waldorf math because it's taught very differently, and I do want to incorporate it into our education. We're sort of doing like a combo of the two. Okay, form drawing. So form drawing was a completely foreign subject to me, and I don't really like to go into teaching my daughter anything with having no knowledge of it whatsoever. So I got this creative form drawing book and I've been working through it. I also got the Waldorfish form drawing course for grades 1 through 4. The reason I got the book was because it looked comprehensive, and then the reason that I am also doing the Waldorfish course is because it was nice to see a person teaching it, because I wasn't exactly sure of the flow of the lesson, but seeing a demonstration, that is the part that I was missing. So the book is fantastic, but this course really helped me learn how to teach it. The next thing I'm working on is watercoloring. I've gotten into my own types of habits and my own style, which is very, very different from sort of the prescribed Waldorf, sort of flowy, ethereal watercolor experience. So I'm working my way through 2 books actually for this. I'm working through painting and drawing in Waldorf schools, classes 1 through 8. I'm just doing the teacher exercises in the front of the book. Okay, the other book I'm working through is called Color Dynamics. So it's like sort of a progression through the colors. The way I paint is kind of just on autopilot. I don't even really have to think about it specifically. This book has forced me to sort of slow down my painting and not really worry so much about the output and what comes out of it. It's more of the process and the experience of it. It's almost like liberating, honestly, to just not worry about what it looks like. I've recently started a mother's journal. And if you're not familiar with the mother's journal, that's a Charlotte Mason term basically for like blogging about your kids on a piece of paper. But I'm keeping them very small, like a small paragraph per entry. And it's just sort of like where they're at developmentally, what's going on in their life, how things are going. I was really great at keeping baby books. They are filled out. And then after the baby phase, that's it. I have no idea what was going on month to month with my kids. And that kind of makes me sad. You know, I have a kid who's about to turn 7, and what really happened between the ages of 1 and 6, right? I just got these little cute journals. I try to write in them maybe like a couple times a week. All right. Also, Song School Spanish that I am doing with my daughter, I'm going to consider that also personal learning because I do not know Spanish and I am now learning Spanish with her. And it's fantastic. We get Spanish books from the library. We listen to Spanish songs in the car. We try to chit chat in Spanish with the limited vocabulary that we currently have at home. My 2-year-old absolutely loves doing all of our counting books in Spanish now. She's a pro. I've also been casually slogging my way through a Bible study. I've never read the entire Bible. I wouldn't say it was a spiritual draw, but it was more of just a generalized curiosity. So I got myself a year in the Bible for women, honestly, mainly because it looked pretty. I flipped through it and I was like, I'm a woman. I want to read the Bible. I like paintings. So hey, they got my money. Good job, Mardell. I totally skip weeks and pick it back up again. So this isn't something that I'm going to get done in 52 weeks whatsoever. And then to go along with it, I'm doing the study Havamal just because I didn't even know that existed as a thing until very recently. And I thought, hey, why not? I'll grab this one too. So how do I organize it all? This is where I just become the typical curious person and not somebody with a fancy aesthetic. I just have random notebooks. I usually do 2 subjects per book. So what I do is I start one subject at the front of the book, and then the next subject, I literally flip over the book and start upside down and backwards on the other side. For scheduling, I don't really have a strict schedule right now. It's more just ongoing. Okay, so as you can see, the majority of my learning right now has to do with homeschooling, mainly because I'm trying to brush up on topics that I was unfamiliar with, like form drawing, or I needed to change my perspective on, like watercolor and math, or that I was just curious about, like anthroposophy, which is tangentially related to Waldorf education. So I guess this is like my identity now, is the homeschool mom. So I'm gonna just embrace it right now and kind of lean into making myself the best teacher I can be for my kids. And then what I want to learn next, a few things. I want to have nicer handwriting. I have bought calligraphy sets. I have one just sitting in a box right now. I think it's just a mood thing of how I decide to write. But I realized I don't think I actually want to learn calligraphy. I think I just want to have nice, neat handwriting. I would love to learn herbology. I remember back as far as 2005, almost signing up for a college level herbalist class, but I got freaked out that they had a test and finals and stuff, and like, I don't know why that would scare me. I have always done well in school. I've always tested well on things, but for some reason that just put so much pressure onto me that I couldn't do it. And then a few years ago, I even had an offer for a scholarship for a local herbalism program, and I freaked out on that one too. So I think I just need to be a little bit more casual with it and like not put so much pressure on myself. But I would like my knowledge to be a little bit more comprehensive. Another thing I want to do more regularly, I want to get better at reading the runes. I enjoy using runes. My daughter likes them. So I'd like to get to a point where I have more of an intuitive relationship with them rather than having to kind of like reference a book and when I want to interpret. Okay, and I think just as important as what I am learning right now is also what I am not learning right now. I am not trying to master every homeschool method all at once. I have been down the rabbit holes, and I am choosing to focus on Waldorf education with some Charlotte Mason also included in there. There's so many paths to take, and I know there's valid points in all of them, but I know you have to choose, because otherwise it's just a mess, right? If you're just all over the place, not following a system, not knowing what to do. I'm also not chasing every curriculum that looks amazing online. That's a hard one, because it is really, really fun to flip through a new curriculum. I'm also definitely not turning this into a perfectly optimized system with deadlines and checklists for everything, because realistically, I just do not have the capacity for that. And I don't think it would actually make anything better for me. So I think a lot of people say they want their kids to be lifelong learners, but the only way to actually make that happen is if they see it. This isn't really about having a personal curriculum or not. It's about just not being done learning ever. And honestly, I hope that's the way I always am. But for me personally, I just kind of take it real low key. Hey, I'm learning about this topic right now. I'm reading these books. Anyway, yeah. Are you studying anything? I would love to hear from you guys. All 6 of you who are following my channel right now, I actually want to hear what you're learning right now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.